Okay, so this is a video on 3D printing and robotics. I'm Alex Link, the 3D printing lead for 2468 this year. So in this video, we'll cover kind of what 3D printing is, deciding whether your part is best 3D printed, design tips in CAD, material choice, and then a buyer's guide. Okay, so what is 3D printing? So it's additive manufacturing. It's a machine that lays down layers of plastic, like one on top of another, to create a 3D part. And so most of the time this is plastic being melted down through a nozzle, but it could also be metal. So should your part be 3D printed? There's definitely considerations to think about, like size, shape, and then what forces. So when thinking about the size, the smaller the part is generally the better. So then it prints faster, and so if the part breaks, you can always print a new one. In the picture to the right is probably the worst example of this. This part took 72 hours to print and ended up being the wrong size, so we couldn't use it once. And it took the printer's time, which is kind of the most important, and money. And then for shape, you always need a flat surface that the print bed can adhere to the part so that it won't fall off midway through the print. And then forces. At the end of the day, this part is going to be plastic, so it can break and it's not indestructible. So definitely take in consideration bulking up your part and making sure it will be strong enough to withstand the forces of robotics. And then can it be manufactured another way? In general, manufacturing in pretty much any other way could be quicker because of the print time that it will take to print. You can't kind of quicken the step. It'll, at the end of the day, take a while for the printer to get through the print. So design tips. Again, always making sure you have a nice flat surface that the printer can print on is always going to be the best. In the picture to the left, that kind of big, unique part is a real nice part because it's got a big flat surface, so it won't disconnect from the part midway through. Orientation is also important. Your part's going to be strongest, or it's going to be weakest whenever in between layers. So if you're putting stress on the part, it will rip apart the layers. So you want to make sure that however the part's going to be used, it will use the layers going horizontal versus pulling them. Think about also when designing to prevent having overhangs. You'll have to use a lot of support material, which is a waste of money and time. And in the part to the right, you can see how the box, everything inside the box had to have support material, which wasted a lot of time and money. And then also, in different instances, it could also create kind of warping and not make the shape exactly how you want it. Material choice. So there's four main options that we have in the shop. So PETG is kind of your basic all-around filament, and this is mostly used for prototyping and to kind of save money because it's not as expensive as the other two. Nylon X is kind of your step up. It's used on the Ender 3 just like PETG, but uses nylon and chopped up carbon fiber inside of it. But it also costs a little bit more than PETG. Nylon X is the strongest material that we have for 3D printing. It's only printed on the Markforged and costs the most, but it also has the best results. You'll get the best tolerances with this filament because of the machine, and also the best strength layer-to-layer adhesion. And then reinforcement materials we don't use often, but it's used to kind of strengthen your part and also kind of stiffen it up. And it's only used for Onyx on the Markforged. And then a quick buyer's guide. And these two printers I put on this particularly because I've experience with both of them, a lot of experience. So the Ender 3 is going to be your great all-around beginner printer. You can't go wrong with it. It's around $250, but depending on where you get it, and it's the best starter printer to see if you want to kind of invest into 3D printing in the future. It's got a relatively big build volume, definitely as big as you'll ever need for the most part. And the biggest part about this is that so many other people have it that most people have come into issues that you'll probably come into. So there's a lot of information on the internet, which is a big selling point. If you have a little bit more money to spend, you want a higher quality machine, you know you're going to be printing for a while, the Mark III and the Mark III's might be a better option for you. You'll definitely get better print quality. It's more user friendly in the fact of it comes with its own software and it kind of comes ready to go. It comes with everything you need. And I would definitely recommend buying the kit on this. Whenever you buy the kit, it gives you the experience of putting it together and knowing how the machine works. So when it breaks, because it probably will, you'll know how to fix it, and it won't be kind of overwhelming of you not knowing how the machine fully works. And so that was the first video. If you guys have more questions on any of these topics, I can make a video going in more depth on any of these. Thank you.